Nearly every amateur golfer struggles with the same problem on the downswing. Their club face is way too open at this position. This leads to a series of potential problems. If you leave the club face too open and never get it shut, well, you'll probably push it or slice it way to the right depending on your club path. Our brains are pretty smart though, and we get tired of seeing the ball go to the right so much, so instead, many of us will instinctively try to flip the club closed with our wrists in order to square it up just before impact. Sure, sometimes this results in a shot that goes mostly straight if you time it up perfectly, but more often than not, you're going to either have a weak hit off to the right if you do it too late, or you're going to pull or hook your shot so far left that it's probably going to end up in a creek somewhere if you overdo it at all. I know this fight all too well because I've been struggling with the same issue for decades now, and honestly, it's been a really tough thing to fix in the swing. But my coach Ed gave me this lesson a few weeks ago that's really provided a big aha moment for me in developing the correct downswing feeling, and it's made a huge difference in my ball striking. You'll see during this lesson that the first few shots when I was trying to implement this feel were pretty rough. I could barely even get the ball off the ground, which usually isn't a big problem for me. But after working with this new feel for a while and getting the hang of it, I was hitting some of the most compressed 7-iron shots of my life. You know, the ones that just zip off the face and go 20 or 30 yards further than normal. So I hope you really enjoy this lesson and it helps you add some of that beautiful compression to your iron shots.
One of the most common things I see with the amateur players that I work with is that the club face is open on the way down. And so Patrick and I were working on a light stick video to show lag, and he's really good at getting the shaft on plane now, working with the light stick. But his club face, either on video or he can even tell with these hands that his club face is still open on the way down. And that's historically been his issue.
Absolutely.
And so I've shown him a couple ways to learn to feel what that should feel like, to still point at the target line with the shaft, but to get his wrist in a position, his left wrist on the way down, that gets the club face square. You'll see the results of that.
Yep, and if you have that same issue, I think you'll really get a kick out of this video.
Yep.
So what I noticed, let me show you. So because I've been using the light stick again a lot, and what I notice is when I don't, I think my tendency is I'm pretty good on playing, but then I think I'm here and I get too, I think my wrists are like too much this way, and so then the club face is wide open even though I'm on it.
Okay.
So like from here, it's like this is going to be probably a pretty open club face, I imagine. You think?
Yeah, probably.
Because I mean, I'm pretty good at staying on.
You are. Yeah, you are.
On the line, but it's just somehow when I make that same swing, it's like something happens where I'm open.
Go ahead and hold on. So as we would come down.
And see, I'm feeling it twist more than I do.
know.
I don't twist it that much.
I know.
Yeah.
But I'm still on the line. Do you
Right.
see that?
Yeah.
And so that's what you got to feel.
And see this right here is very different. I think I'm more like used to this.
Absolutely, you're like that.
And I need to be more like this, where it's more
Correct.
turned over. So maybe that's my version of the light stick I need to work on.
Exactly, just like that.
Where you just twist.
Exactly.
And so you think that accomplishes, you think, the same idea as this? Because
it doesn't. See, I don't like that. Because that club's not in front of you in that position.
This?
Yeah.
What is?
See, well, your chest is here.
Yeah.
So you would have to be in this position like that to be okay.
So you want it more like here?
Yeah. Yes, I do, so I want you to turn with it.
So really, you like that better?
Yeah, I do, absolutely.
And then as you come through, then
absolutely.
You just finish?
Yeah, absolutely, and it stays on the line.
See, there's a lot more. I definitely don't have that much rotational feel in my.
I know.
And then
it happens early. But does that make sense?
It does. So I think I need to work on more that turning it down to impact more, because I've noticed like I've gotten really good at staying on the line, but I think my club face in relation to that, and so then even if when I go to do my real swing, my body won't let me do that because it knows I'm going to shank it or have a wide open face. So that's when I think I get my flip.
I do too. It used to be because you were steep, but
And
you're
I think
really not anymore.
I flattened it out a lot.
agree.
It's like, yeah.
And your takeaway, you know, is so much better now this way. You know.
Well, that's like when I've been watching my videos lately, like my takeaway is like dead on. Like I'm like perfectly back and the club face is like exactly parallel to my spine angle. It's like everything's good until I start coming back down, and then it's like my first move's like this instead of
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is. And so when you swing your light at home, that's what I would try to feel. And if you put that hack motion, see, I'm still on the line here, but I'm this way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I'd be like that, and then I'd hit it. Okay? And so, but that is why you're not able to create lag, because most people go this way with the light. And once you go that way, then you have to release your wrist hinge early in that angle. And so you'll never create any lag.
Cool.
Lag is created by the shaft being on the correct plane, on the target line, pointed at the target line, past the ball. And then our face gets squared up by this wrist getting flatter here at impact, and then I'll create the shaft angle that I'm trying to create.
Makes sense.
And it's that simple. If you're trying to hold these angles and this club is not on the correct plane,
It's impossible.
it's impossible to do it.
Yeah.
And that's where people don't get it right. And there's no pulling motion. See, with the problem with trying to do these pump drills and to feel a pulling motion on the way down, it has to be a swinging motion, because not only do I have to be here on the way down, I have to be here after I hit the ball. And if I'm pulling, I can never get over there. Does that make sense? And so that's why I hate all those drills of trying to create those angles, because these angles should happen naturally if the club's swinging on plane, and it has to swing on plane past the ball with the butt end. You can see where my light is here.
Yep.
And so, but then I have to release the club. I have to swing the club head. And so this club head has to be swinging back here. And so I have to swing, and I have to, by the time I'm in my finish, this butt end's got to point almost where the ball was and down the line as I continue to go. And all you guys that are trying to pull this and hold these angles, you're getting in this position after impact.
Right.
And
You don't want the chicken wing either.
no, it's going right. And so learn, this flashlight stick is the best way to learn it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Still is. Points all the way through, all the way through. We had a great video with this, so we'll put a link on how to make this. But if you really want to create lag the correct way, you have to practice with this, in my opinion. So one thing, when we were inside with the flashlight, Patrick showed me that, man, he's really getting good at pointing the light at the line, but that he can tell as he's approaching the ball on the downswing that even though the light's pointing on the target line, he can tell his club face is open.
That's right.
Right. And so that's typical of many players. That's why we're doing a video on this, and not just for Patrick. But we have to swing on the correct path or the correct plane, and we have to keep the club face square. So you have to learn what a square club face feels like on the way down.
Absolutely.
And so I showed him indoors with the flashlight stick, but if we do it with the golf club, let me walk in here.
Yep.
So Patrick normally would be pointing at the target line, but then the face would still be in this position.
And if you look at my slow-mo videos, you'll see exactly this.
That's right.
Yep.
And so that's an open face. And so from here, if he maintains the correct lag, he's going to end up at impact with a very open club face, and it's going to go right, high right, and not very far.
Yep.
Right? Yep. And so Patrick has to learn that not only does this end have to point past the ball on the target line, but he has to feel this wrist motion on the way down to get this club face in this position rather than that position at this point in the downswing. And so we've got lag, we've got a club face that matches the spine angle, and boy, it's going to deliver the ball square, and he's going to have the correct angle of attack. One thing I didn't mention earlier, if you have access to a really good launch monitor like a TrackMan, you can measure lag, its angle of attack, or it's the low point of your swing. I prefer the low point setting for most players, and with a 7-iron, your low point should be 3 or 4 inches in front of the ball, after the ball. That's correct. And so it's a measurable thing now to do that. You can look at it on video and see the angles, but you can also see it with TrackMan. Okay, and so that's what Patrick needs to learn, is that while he's pointing at the line and while he's pointing at the line past the ball, he's got to get this club face where that toe's looking this way.
Yep. Well, and this is one of the things, we've talked about this before, but when we were inside and you were working with the flashlight, you had me twisting, and it felt like I don't do it myself. Like I was definitely a different, like that feels more that I'm used to is that twisting through here.
I agree with that.
And I think what happens is I stay open, and then I
absolutely
flip this way to compensate.
You have to, or it's going right.
And I've gotten pretty good at that method, but it's just not a good way to swing for consistency.
Well, and definitely not for power.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, and total distance. So yep. And so that's what he's got to learn to feel.
That looks pretty good like that.
And that looks pretty good like that. And then you got to swing the club. So you're going too long there. Then it's got to swing and release on the way through, and that handle's got to go that way. And that's a really hard part of this.
It is, yeah.
Is that we've got to complete the swing on the forward swing, and that's what just kills me with guys that come to see me that have been trying to create lag, and they've got these big old chicken wings on the way through.
They end up like this.
They do.
Yep.
They do.
Yep.
And so, and especially higher handicap players that shoot 90 or higher for 18 holes, learning to make a correct swinging motion is probably more important than worrying about lag at first.
Sure, yeah.
And so, but for those of you that are worried about that and see those same images on your videos, is the one we showed in the introduction. And I see that 90% of the people I work with probably. And it's because they're not on point and they don't know how to keep the club square.
Yep, makes sense. So okay, I'm gonna try this. So I'm twisting, but then I'm letting the club swing on through.
Yep.
So is that a typical thing you'll come across if you do it too much?
Yes, and so that exact shot that you just hit, that you topped, was when you're maintaining that angle, but it's too steep and you're going to go right over top of the ball, basically. So I have to be pointed at the target line, and then I have to, if you call it twisting, great. Everybody has a different feel and a term for that. I call it just making sure the club face is square on the way down.
Sure, yeah.
So, but is it a move with your angle with your hand? It is. So your hack motion would like that if you would see the flex in that.
So those are because I'm coming down too steep. Okay, so I need to be
even
that motion's good, but in terms of the twisting, but it needs to come in more from.
Yes. And you probably need to get a little farther away from the ball, just an inch.
Yep. There we go.
Good.
That was hit good.
No kidding, huh? Yeah. That was hit good. I'm going to walk back here so I can see you down the line.
Okay.
Move that ball in and put it right on the target line.
Right here?
There you go.
Yeah.
If you're going to point at the target line, the ball needs to be there.
Yeah.
And it can be slightly outside it, just a little, but that is where you're at.
So is that still too steep, you think?
Yeah, it is.
Okay. How's that rehearsal look? Does that?
The rehearsal looks great.
It's the real swing that's.
The real swing, the hossel's getting in the way.
Yeah. So those two good ones, I really felt like I was trying as much. I don't know what it looks like on the camera, but I felt like I was trying as much as possible to get it coming deep from the inside.
I would, rather than that thought, I would really try to point the butt end at the target line.
Okay.
And that'll get you on the correct point. But you're not releasing the club head enough on the finish on those either.
Like more.
Okay, yeah, so you're just holding on to it too long.
Okay.
Okay. And I know that's see, that time you swung the club head.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying this is easy to do.
Oh, I definitely agree that it's not easy to do,
but
I think this is the thing I need to work on.
The golf swing is really simpler than most people are trying to make it.
Yep.
It's just hard to do, but if you stay with the simple things that are correct, I promise it'll end up being better. And so that's why I really like that flashlight drill for this, and then learning to feel that wrist flexion in your left wrist there as you come down to keep the face square, and then you have to finish over here correctly too. And that's a lot to think about, and that's why I like doing it with the light.
Yep.
Because you can learn to do it with the light, and then you can do it out here without thinking about it. So. But see, that should feel good there.
Yeah, I mean, the ones I'm making good contact, I'm hitting really, really good.
Yeah,
so
that was your best one, I thought. There.
Yeah. So when you're saying finishing, you're really talking more here, letting.
Yes, I am. Where that butt of the
as
club,
opposed to letting like this, you're saying letting it really
point at the target line. So set up there.
Okay.
So you're doing all you're doing on the way down, but after you hit this ball, see, this club's got a point where the ball. You have to be already here at this point in the follow.
Okay, and you're saying I'm typically more here.
Yes.
Okay.
I am. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Which, going back to the
And
video
so
we
is
did
almost
about
everybody.
So we did the video about how to hit draws, how to hit fades on purpose.
Right.
To me, that feels more like the how to hit a draw, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So.
And what'd you hit on that last swing?
Well, all three of the good ones have been little draws.
I know.
So I just need to exaggerate that feel for it to be more normal for me.
Yes, sir. And especially if the club's square on the way down, it's going to really promote a draw. Do you understand? Yes.
Yep.
Or a hook.
Yeah, I was going to say, if I get pretty good at it, I can really get it to go left.
But I like seeing that, because how often do you really hit that shot?
Right.
Not often, right?
Yeah, it kind of depends.
Right.
But
not often.
Yeah.
Not with irons, do you?
Only on par threes when there's trouble on the left.
And I know that's too far left, but that's 165 yards.
Yeah,
you just hit that shot.
Absolutely.
With no effort.
No, that's a long 7-iron for me.
I know. Good. So now just hit one with no thoughts.
Okay.
Because after you've done this 20 times, I mean...
You want to make it subconscious.
Yeah, you ought to be able to do it. So just try to hit one full speed and hit one, see what happens. Good. Wasn't that good?
Not bad, yeah, a little fade.
See, and that, for all of you out there, when you work on a drill of any kind, do the drill, but after 15 or 20 drills,
Try to hit it
then
normal.
just swing and
Yeah.
hit it, and that's what we're trying to accomplish. And you'd be surprised. I think too many people spend 2 hours doing the same thing over and over.
I'm guilty of that for
Yep.
sure.
And so,
That was an interesting one.
that was.
So if you top it that deep into the ground, is there anything to learn from that, or?
Yeah, don't do that.
Do that again?
So no thoughts this time. Just
Okay.
just try to brush the grass and let the ball get in the way. Still a little right, but that's what I figured had happened as you started swinging.
Absolutely.
That it's going to go up in the air. Do you see
and
that?
I can feel, so when I don't think about it, I can feel that, I can actually feel the difference with I'm not closing it
Yeah.
as much. I can tell that's just going back to my normal.
So this next swing, let's make a full swing, okay?
But try
just
to feel
that
that.
you're just feeling a little bit of that on the way down.
Yep.
Just a little.
Okay.
And I think the ball could be just a little farther forward in your
Okay,
stance.
yep.
And that could be why you're mishitting some of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good.
See how great's that?
That's awesome.
That's
Yep.
probably the best 7-iron I've ever seen you hit.
Yep.
Yep.
That was a good one.
Good as any I've ever seen you hit.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And so ball position's pretty important.
It is.
And you had it too far back, and I just now
And that's
noticed
my
that.
tendency is I tend to, I go too far back in my stance on accident without trying to.
There's nothing worse than having an open club face and the ball back in your stance.
Yeah, you're gonna have a lot of trouble then, huh?
Yep. Isn't that good?
Yeah.
Still a little farther forward in your stance.
Okay.
There you go. Good job, Patrick. That's great.
Those are good.
Yeah.
Thank you.